Now, as we know, all of last year was $450 million worth of distraction. What could have been achieved as a 60-40 yes win was, of course, dragged out for an entire year and became 60-40 no, because the Prime Minister knew that this would be an issue that could seal his place in the history books regardless of how long his Prime Ministership went. He would be the one who brought a voice to Parliament. That's why it went on for as long as it went on. We were critical of that at the time. The reality, of course, was that as we were focused on cost of living, they were focused on changing the Constitution. Now, today, we started to learn about just how much money was flowing in and around the two campaigns. Now, of course, the yes ads, very well produced, had the extreme amount of money, whereas the no campaign was as close to you can get an actual grassroots effort of people pushing back. Now, yes, there were millions of dollars that they had, but it's nowhere near the $75 million that was handed over as donations to people supporting the Yes campaign. Well, today was the day that the Australian Electoral Commission actually told us who gave what to whom. Now, it's not that hard to actually go and find where the majority of the money went. Because, as I say, $75 million is what made its way towards the Yes campaign, at least what's been declared via the Electoral Commission. And as even the Turnbull Times has noticed here, that it was 5 times as much as was being spent on the other side. Now, remember, it was tax deductible. On the yes side, it had to be fought for it to be tax deductible on the no side. So we know where the establishment wanted Australians to go. Well, again, today, the $75 million, where did it come from? Well, from massive companies, from huge corporations, from Indigenous land councils, from political parties, from independents, Bunnings and BHP and the Commonwealth Bank, Telstra, just some of the big corporates who decided to pick that side that, of course, was not where the majority of Australian people were by a margin of. Every single state and the Northern Territory, 60-40. Now, you may remember that there were plenty of people who tried to pretend that there was not a money disadvantage to the No campaign. Instead, they kind of kept it quiet about what all of the obvious money was, and they tried to make it seem like the No campaign had more money and they were spending it in particularly nefarious ways. Of course, the reality was quite the opposite. It was all publicly available where the ads were going, and obviously they were being paid for. Today we learn 5-1, $75 million to the Yes campaign, 5 times less to the No campaign. And there is one word that was used over and over again to dispel anyone who had a problem or even a question with a planned change to our Constitution.
Misinformation.
Misinformation.
The misinformation.
Outrage, trying to start a culture war.
It is importing Trump-style politics.
Misinformation.
Misinformation.
Now, were things said by both sides that may not well be able to pass the pub test? You betcha. But the reality was that anything that was against what was being suggested by the people who were pushing it and who were behind it was somehow misinformation was their catch cry of just trying to dismiss any and everyone who had a problem with the change that was being proposed, the one that was already costing $450 million of taxpayers' money. Throw on top of that the extra $75 million, and we now have well over $500 million worth of money that was going into the yes side of the equation. Now, the government will say the 450 was, of course, just the administration and absolutely down the middle, despite the fact that, of course, the Yes campaign tried to, at one point in time, actually appropriate the colours of the Australian Election Commission, the Australian Electoral Commission. But that word misinformation, which was in that case was used very specifically to make it seem like Australians at the start of the process, they completely agree, but all the lies and the BS meant that eventually they ended up disagreeing. So that keyword misinformation is one that is often used by the powerful and often on the left to be able to disqualify the people who simply disagree with them.
Misinformation.
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 The misinformation which is there.
Some misinformation.